Welcome back, everybody, to the 2-Minute Warning, episode 315. Back on the topic of baseball. Last baseball video was the George Springer video. Again, George Springer to the Blue Jays. Go check that out if you have not. But today, we're going to be talking about the pickup from the Boston Red Sox, Kike Hernandez, in free agency, signed with Boston, of course, from LA. But before we get into that, question of the day. The Los Angeles Dodgers have how many franchise World Series? Again, stick around for the answer at the end of the video. The question again, how many franchise World Series wins do the Los Angeles Dodgers have? But let's get right into the video. Again, Kike Hernandez, free agent from the Dodgers, signed by the Boston Red Sox, 2-year, $14 million deal. I think this is a relatively big signing for the Red Sox, but just an equally big loss for the Dodgers. Kike Hernandez, obviously not a guy that you're going to have hit 330 in the regular season and hit 3 hits a game, but he's a clutch guy off the bench for sure, and I think the Dodgers are going to miss him. But in all honesty, I'm happy that this has happened for him. I've always thought that he deserved more play time. Again, he's usually off the bench and starting maybe late in series when starting guy needs rest, whatever. Kike is a bench guy, but he's always, in my mind, I've thought he could start in 20 teams in the league, just not in LA because they're so powerful. So I'm happy that he's doing this, or that he has this opportunity. He's 29 years old, so hasn't even hit that 30 mark. So you got to imagine he's got 6-7 good healthy years left, pending no injuries. And he's really just this not perfect, but this ideal utility guy. He plays second base and he plays outfield, but he's even made some appearances at shortstop, third base, whatever. He can do it all, infield, outfield. He's just a perfect example of your utility guy that can also swing the bat pretty well. And for the Dodgers, this is kind of a precursor for what else could be happening this offseason. Of course, your franchise third baseman, Justin Turner, is a free agent. Now, there's been plenty of evidence to suggest that the Dodgers are going to re-sign him, which I think they absolutely should. He's their postseason guy, most postseason home runs as in Dodgers franchise history in Justin Turner, and he's just kind of one of the main faces of their team right now. So I think Justin Turner definitely gets re-signed, but nothing has happened yet. And then Jock Peterson, this isn't a guy that I expect the Dodgers to re-sign, and I think this isn't really a guy that if I'm a Dodgers fan, I'm really going to be too upset about if they don't re-sign him. Jock Peterson obviously is kind of an all-or-nothing guy. Played very poorly this past regular season in that shortened 60-game year, but in the World Series, in the postseason, he hit 382. He had 2-3 home runs, whatever. He can play in the postseason for sure, but in the regular season, it's kind of all or nothing with Jock Peterson. He's going to hit a ball 400 feet or he's going to strike out, and I think that he's not too valuable of an asset for this Dodgers team, but they keep him around and just adds more depth to their lineup. So again, the free agents remaining on the Dodgers team, the big ones, Justin Turner and Jock Peterson, and of course they just lost Kike Hernandez. As far as what Kike means to Boston, well, he's going to be starting. That's the key for me. That's the big thing. Starting at second base, I think. Of course, obviously, I don't know, but my prediction is he's going to be the starting second baseman for this Red Sox team. A lineup that includes Xander Bogaerts at shortstop, very talented guy. Rafael Devers, the young guy, at third, I think in his third season now. And then, of course, J.D. Martinez in the four-hole, the slugger. Benintendi, a guy that I've loved ever since he went in the league. A young guy, Michael Chavis, I think his second year. I've actually watched him, not personally, but been following him for a while through Instagram posts and hitting clinics and stuff like that. So I'm actually a big fan of Michael Chavis, and I think he's a great young talent. And then Alex Verdugo in the leadoff spot likely. So I'm likely going to see Kike probably in the 8 or 9 spot, but that's what he does. He's like a second leadoff hitter because he's not necessarily consistent enough on base-wise to be a leadoff guy, but when you need him on base, he's likely going to pull through. Just an instance that comes to my mind, this last postseason against the Rays in the World Series, I think it was Game 2. He had that 2 RBI double, I think, down the left field line. I think that was against the Rays. It might have been against the Braves, but he had a couple home runs. So Kike is a guy that you can expect to come off the bench and get something done. And he's just got that personality. He just hypes up the Dodgers dugout. He's always excited. So he's a good addition to the team. So I think the Red Sox, who have been really off the map since their 2017-2018 World Series season where they beat the Dodgers while Kike was on that team, the Red Sox have kind of been off the map. I think this alone won't take them into the ALDS or ALCS or World Series, whatever. It's not going to take them all the way there, but it's going to be a step in the right direction. The Red Sox really struggled at the plate last year, but the talent's there in the lineup, and I expect it to click this season. So the pitching is where I have an issue with the Boston Red Sox. Chris Sale, their main guy, of course, still recovering Tommy John. I don't expect him to be back till maybe mid-June, July. So I don't know. That's halfway through the season, approximately. So Chris Sale with that Tommy John surgery is still off the map. I think their main guy this coming season is going to be Eduardo Rodriguez. We'll see how he does. Didn't play last year because of COVID, whatever. So that's all whatever. That's all understandable. Then they got Nathan Eovaldi, who we saw the famous instance where he gives up the home run and spikes his glove on the ground, whatever. I think Eovaldi's a pretty good pitcher. And they got Nick Pivetta. So the Red Sox pitching staff is where I think that they will win or lose the season because I think their lineup is talented. So I think Kike is going to a good spot where he'll get to start and finally get the playing time that I think he's deserved for a while. As far as what the Dodgers are going to look like without him, well, as far as his spot in the infield, I think that can be filled by primarily Gavin Lux, the young guy who they picked up, or I think just drafted 2 years ago, whatever. Or he made his rookie debut. He made his debut last year. I don't know how long ago he was drafted. And then Chris Taylor can fill in the outfield and fill in the infield if necessary. But I think Lux will be the starter. And then the outfield, they got still Mookie to hold it down in right, Belly in center field, of course, Cody Bellinger, and then Chris Taylor, who can also rotate in the infield. And then A.J. Pollock, who we saw in the World Series, played pretty well, swing the bat pretty well. So the Dodgers are not going to be missing Kike a whole lot, but the personality that he brings and the clutch off the bench aspect he brings to the game, I think that they'll miss. But I don't think this is going to keep the Dodgers out of the World Series, and I don't think this is going to take the Red Sox anywhere crazy. But bottom line is, free agent Kike Hernandez signed by the Boston Red Sox, and I think he's going to help their roster out and finally get the playing time that he's been deserving. So that's all for the video. Question of the day, guys. Thanks for sticking around if you're still here. Question of the day is 7. The Dodgers have 7 World Series titles to franchise: 1955, 1959, 1963, 1965, 1981, 1988, and of course this past season in 2020. Thanks for watching, everybody.